I want to share Fatima's stories with you. This is me, and this is from our camp, our refugee camp in Azes. This Fatima, what we are sharing with Fatima 3 years ago, it was very touching for me. I was touched with her by her. I asked her hopes, and she said that I don't have any hope. I just want to be known, not as a terrorist, as a children, she said, because she was poisoned probably from television or other media outlets, and she's thinking that she's terrorist. So she said that I'm not terrorist, and she lost her father. He was killed by Assad regime in 2010, and she wanted to go to university. Now she started university, by the way, because we met approximately 4 years ago. Now she's at the age of 18, and what we are giving Fatima in this modern refugee system. 3 things: refugee camp. They are stuck in refugee camp, unfortunately, or if they are lucky, an area in neighboring country like Gaziantep in Turkey, or some places like Kahramanmaraş in Turkey, or Kilis. Maybe you heard about Kilis. So we are not giving, or Pireli's journey, like Aylan Kurdi's journey. We don't give anything. We are not giving anything to them. So some refugees they find opportunity to buy a ticket to go to Europe, or some refugees they cannot find any way to buy a ticket, so they are, unfortunately, they have to choose the option of this kind of journey. So unfortunately we cannot change these options as a civilian, but at least with this kind of nice stories that you share today, we try to heal their wounds. Of course, it is none of our business. We cannot, maybe you are not agree with me, but this is not our, we are not lawmakers, unfortunately. We cannot change this. But I would like to share my humble 3 effective solutions with you. It is better if we give them economical solutions in their societies. For example, I'm living in Istanbul, and I started to cook at my home. In my home, I started to cook Syrian food, and I started to learn Arabic by the help of in Fatih district. We have nice Arab restaurant, by the help of Syrian refugees, because in Istanbul we have 1.5 million refugees in Istanbul. So they are really very close friend of mine, and they can speak very well fluently Turkish, by the way. And even some Kurdish people who are living in Turkey more than 20 years, unfortunately they cannot speak Turkish, but they have very different ability. I cannot believe Arab people, these refugees, maybe they have these advantages, so they want to transform this life into an advantage. So that's why they want to learn very quickly Turkish, but they can speak very well Turkish. Of course, you cannot imagine how can they speak very well English as well. So I went to a course, 6 months, Arab cuisine course in Istanbul. Friend of mine, she's still journalist, and we went together. She's from Aleppo, and now I can cook at home, in my home, some Arab food as well, because of this war, unfortunately, this outbreak of this war. So it was good opportunity for me as well, for my family, and matching them, of course. Now Turkish government are ranking them according to their abilities and language and their skills. Turkish government is ranking them and giving them some scholarships as well, and so they have good opportunities in Turkey. And my suggestion also, humanitarian visa. Why aren't we giving any humanitarian visa? Why are they asylum seekers? I don't understand this regime. Asylum seeking. Yani asylum seekers. It is from the beginning. It is very corrupted terms. Why are you asylum seekers? It is something like prohibition, but it is not my prohibition. Sorry, it is the prohibition of my country. It is the problem of my country. So why didn't you give me a humanitarian visa? Why I cannot travel in other countries? I am very innocent civilian, and I'm not terrorist like my lawmakers. So why I am handling this kind of stories, this kind of humiliating on my own? It is not my problem. So I think this humanitarian visa can save many refugees. I think so. As a journalist, with my team, we went to many places as well, many refugee camps. So we have a project. It is called Citizen. So we can watch this video. It is a very short video.
Refugees take local jobs. It's something that's heard throughout Europe, but it's also heard in Turkey, the world's largest refugee-hosting country. Millions fled Syria during the 7-year civil war, and while the EU has turned many away, Turkey has taken in over 3.5 million Syrians.
When this particular crisis hit, the European Union took a very security-oriented approach, which is basically they tried to focus on securing their borders versus actually helping people who are in need.
Turkey encouraged refugees to join the workforce in an effort to foster self-reliant communities rather than simply housing them in container camps.
What they've tried to do is they've tried to integrate them into the larger Turkish society and labor force.
And this benefits Syrian people in many ways.
Experience shows that refugees who actually move beyond their refugee camps are actually more likely to find economic and social opportunities to better themselves. So what Turkey has done to encourage more refugees to be able to rely on themselves and seek out opportunities is they've allowed them freedom of movement.
However, there have been growing concerns from Turkish natives about the impact of a Syrian influx on their economic well-being. They worry about lower wages, fewer job opportunities, as well as rising rental and food prices. In 2016, the Turkish government passed a law that allowed Turkish business owners to apply for work permits on behalf of their Syrian workers.
That allows them to get benefits, to get legal protection, and basically integrate themselves into the labor force of Turkey.
There are currently about 15,000 Syrians formally employed in Turkey. However, this is dwarfed by the estimated 750 to 900,000 Syrians employed informally.
Research is not very consistent when it comes to this particular question, whether Syrian refugees have taken over Turkish natives' jobs. One thing to consider here that there is the informal sector and the formal sector.
The formal economy is comprised of workers who are on the tax register, entitled to benefits, and often insured. The informal economy is primarily cash-based, made up of cheaper, unskilled labour, and offers little to no benefits for workers. For regions in southeastern Turkey, which are now home to significant Syrian populations, the presence of Syrian networks, government-funded refugee camps, and available seasonal work, such as farming, has resulted in a thriving informal economy.
The Syrian refugee influx has actually led to the availability of more informal labor for Turkish employers. That has actually led to Turkish employers being able to collect more revenue, which has allowed them to expand into different industries and expand their operations, and that's even allowed them to offer more formal opportunities for Turkish natives.
Out of the 1.8 million Syrians of working age, 8 in 10 have less than 8 years of education, and only 1 in 10 have a university degree. And, as in much of the world, informal workers are often paid less, and employers prefer to pay them less. But studies show that for every 10 Syrians working informally, 4 jobs are created in Turkey's formal economy. Syrian entrepreneurship has also provided a spate of employment opportunities, and the numbers are impressive.
More than a quarter of all foreign companies registered in Turkey are actually Syrian. In 2017 alone, 8,100 companies were founded by Syrian refugees. They've actually employed 100,000 people in Turkey.
Though public welfare systems in Turkey are stretched, the perceived costs of hosting Syrian refugees are a bit of a stretch themselves.
There is no conclusive evidence to suggest that there is a direct correlation between Syrian refugees being present in an area and prices rising. There are studies also which show that the presence of Syrian refugees actually decreases the prices of certain goods and services, primarily those which are produced by the informal sector.
Despite the rhetoric, Syrians create demand for goods and services, their presence generates local jobs and industry, and they've become a valuable part of the Turkish labour market, paving the way for self-reliant communities and a more integrated society.
And they are coming with their immense opportunity and with their skills into Turkish society and other societies as well. I would like to finalize my speech. They are not terrorists as well, and if we are hosting them in a better way, it is better for our future generations as well, for our young generations, for the Z generations or other generations as well. So let's destroy this xenophobia, Islamophobia, or other phobias. My mic doesn't want to help me to destroy this kind of phobia. Let's try to destroy this kind of phobia together. Thank you very much for your patience.